Hey YouTube, welcome back. Today we're going to walk through whether or not you can burn fat while not actually losing any weight. This is a common question asked. Can I be dropping body fat and not losing weight? I'm going to walk you through whether that's the case and how, if it is the case, it might be occurring. If you do find the video helpful, please drop a like. If you have any questions throughout, throw them down below. I'll get back to you. And if you haven't already, please do go ahead and subscribe because it helps me out a ton. And it also helps you to keep up with future videos which are going to help you and your goal. Okay, so the short answer to can I be dropping body fat and not losing weight is yes. However, there's a few things we need to take into consideration and understand. So for the majority of cases, not dropping body weight but also burning fat at the same time is going to be a short-term response. Okay, so what I mean by this is in the short term, you can likely be dropping body fat but not dropping weight, okay? Let's say over the space of a week, 2 weeks, or even a few weeks. However, over the long term, that's probably not going to be the case, okay? Over the long term, if you're dropping a substantial amount of body fat, you are likely going to see that representation within the scales too. Now, the reason as to why you might not see that short term, and you might see a drop in body fat, but not in the scales, okay? There can be various reasons as to why that might happen, in a similar fashion as to various reasons as to why weight in itself can fluctuate. Okay, so for example, there might be a retention of water weight, and therefore your body weight not dropping or not moving. Even reasons as to why something like that can occur and fluctuate is numerous. So there could be numerous lists or factors as to why your weight might not shift in a way that you expect. However, if you're very new to training and you're a beginner to training, you might also find that you're adapting very well to that training and adding muscle mass at a faster rate than, let's say, the average person who's not new to training, which might also then be impacting the weight on the scale. Now, don't get this mixed up because you will drop body fat quicker than you're going to add muscle mass, okay? The process of adding muscle mass takes a lot longer than the process of dropping body fat. But there might be, the odd occasion where if you're new to training and if you started training at the same time you started dropping body fat, you might see this weight hold, or even of, potential cases where weight might even shift up because just of the response to training and various things going on. But you might also drop body fat. Okay, so it's just another example of how weight can fluctuate, can move, but might not give the whole picture. But again, these are only likely going to be short-term things that we're seeing. Okay, over the long term, if you're dropping a substantial amount of body fat, you're going to be dropping weight, which then leads us on to how you should be measuring your progress. Okay, you shouldn't be measuring your progress by only using one measurement. Okay, so if you're only using weight, stop. Use something else alongside weight. Okay, as we've just gone through in this video, there's numerous reasons as to why weight can fluctuate, can move, can not show the big picture. So if you're just using weight, that's a quick way to get very frustrated and confused with what's going on. However, if you use something alongside weight, like pictures, all of a sudden you're getting a much better idea of what is actually happening. Okay, and like in this example of can I drop body fat and not lose weight? Well, if you're taking those two measurements and you're seeing the pictures that you're dropping body fat, but in the scales you're holding weight, then you know the answer to that question is yes. Again, it's likely a case that is short term, right? And you might see your body fat dropping in these pictures, and it might take a few weeks for the weights to start moving in a downward trend. But having or using two measurements is going to give you a much better idea of what is going on. So don't just use one way of measuring your progress, okay? Because chances are it's a very quick way to get frustrated and to get confused with what you're seeing. Instead, use multiple different measurements. The more the better, in all honesty. If, on the other hand, scale is not moving, you're not dropping weight, and you're taking other measurements and you're not clearly seeing a drop in body fat, in that scenario, chances are you're just not dropping body fat. Okay, like I said, over the long term, weight will drop if you're dropping a substantial amount of body fat, okay? So if the scale isn't moving over a long term and you're taking other measurements which essentially back that up, then in that scenario, you're probably not dropping body fat, okay? And you need to then make sure you're creating a calorie deficit or increasing the size of that calorie deficit to then get a fat loss response. So is it possible to drop body fat and not lose weight? Yes, in the short term, it's possible, and in certain scenarios, it's possible. But over long term, and I would say for the majority of people, you're likely going to see a downtrend in weight when you are dropping a substantial amount of body fat. Hopefully you found this video helpful. If you did, please do drop a like. If you have any questions throughout, throw them down below. I'll get back to you. If you haven't already, please do subscribe because it helps me out a ton and it'll help keep you up to date with future videos which are going to help you and your goal. Take care.